I think one of the saddest thing happening in education right now is that some of the best teachers I know are quietly disappearing. Not because they stopped caring, not because they lost passion, but because they got tired. And I don't mean I need a weekend off tired. I mean emotionally exhausted, mentally overloaded, spiritually drained. The kind of tired where you sit in your car before work and need a few extra minutes before walking into the building. That kind of tired where lesson planning follows you home, where student behavior stays in your head at night, where you wake up thinking about details, about emails, about data, about parent communication, observations, interventions, testing, meetings. And somewhere in all of that, you slowly stop feeling like yourself. Welcome to the first episode of the podcast. My name is Maria Angela. I am a national board certified teacher, bilingual special education with more than 22 years in Washington, D.C., and the creator of the A.C.C.E.S.S. literacy framework, an original six-stage instructional system designed for multilingual learners, dually identified L and SPED students, and inclusive classrooms. My goal is to support teachers around the world in the same way we support students, with clarity, respect, and practical tools that make the word sustainable. Our YouTube channel is new. Even if I created my account in 2010, I only use it for searching classroom videos and just started posting my videos in April of 2026. And you can start posting in the community now and commenting below. I would love to learn about you, who you are, your passion, what keeps you going every day. So let me start the conversation, and I hope you will keep it going. Today, we're going to talk about something deeply personal to teachers everywhere. Why do great teachers leave our profession? And I want to say this clearly from the very beginning. Teacher burnout is no longer an individual problem. It is becoming an educational crisis, and I know that because I have lived parts of it myself. There were moments in my own classroom where I look around and thought, I love my students, but I cannot keep functioning like this. So I remember staying up late trying to create engaging lessons because somewhere along the way, teachers were made feel like every lesson had to be a Broadway production. And I remember spending hours adjusting slides, searching for resources, organizing all of those activities, trying to meet every learning style, every data point, every expectation, and then still feeling like I wasn't doing enough. And I know I'm not the only one. According to multiple education surveys over the last few years, teacher stress levels are consistently ranked among the highest of all professions. And many educators report chronic emotional exhaustion, increasing overload, demands in workload, declining work life balance, and rising mental health concerns. In some studies, more than half of the teachers reported considering leaving the profession earlier than planned. Think about that. Half. That is not a personal failure. That is a systems problem. And yet, despite all of these, teachers still show up. They still encourage students. They still buy classroom supplies. They still celebrate growth, still care deeply. That's why this conversation matters because burnout is happening to the people who care the most. So, yeah, let's talk about what you guys experience in your own school. What do you notice in your school and amongst your colleagues? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and I would love to support you on this. I've been through this. I know how it feels. And it feels good when, other people can empathize with you. And I empathize with you. So I think one of the hidden reasons teacher burnout is because education has slowly normalized survival mode, right? We praise exhaustion, we celebrate overworking, we glorify sacrifice. Teachers are expected to teach, to mentor, to differentiate, to manage behavior, to document data, emotionally support students, communicate with families, adapt constantly, and somehow still maintain personal wellness. And many educators are carrying all of this while also managing their own families, finances, health, and emotional struggles outside of school. That is heavy. And I think what makes teaching unique is that it's emotional labor. You cannot separate teaching from human emotion. You feel your classroom, you feel your students are struggling, you feel when your child shuts down, you feel when someone comes into school carrying pain, and compassionate teachers absorb that, sometimes without realizing how much it costs them emotionally. And I remember moments in my classroom where I could immediately sense the energy the moment students walked in. Some days the room felt alive, curious, collaborative, and other days it felt heavy. And as teachers, we often carry the emotional temperature of the room on our shoulders, and that emotional labor accumulates over time, especially when teachers are never given space to recover. So, this is actually one of the reasons I became deeply passionate about systems based teaching because I realized something important. Teachers do not just need motivation, teachers need sustainable systems. That realization eventually became part of what shaped my A.C.C.E.S.S framework, not because I wanted another educational acronym, but because I genuinely believed there had to be a better way to teach without constantly sacrificing ourselves in the process. I started asking, what if classrooms could become more student centered in ways that actually reduce teacher burnout? What if engagement didn't require teachers to perform nonstop? What if literacy instruction could become more structured, more collaborative, and more sustainable? What if systems could save teachers time instead of creating more work? And honestly, some of the biggest breakthroughs in my classroom happened when I stopped trying to carry the entire learning experience alone. When students became more active participants, classroom energy shifted. When routines became clearer, behavior improved. When literacy discussions become more collaborative, students became more invested. And interestingly, the more ownership students developed, the less exhausted I felt at the end of the day. And that changed everything for me. So I also started realizing something outside the classroom. I needed to reconnect my myself, my parts of myself beyond just teaching. For me, one of those things was dance, movement, music, joy, energy. And I know that many small sound small to some people. That may really be, something small to some people, but it mattered deeply to me because burnout doesn't only drain your energy, it slowly disconnects you from your humanity. You stop creating, you stop resting, you stop laughing fully, you stop moving freely. You become productive but emotionally empty. And I think many teachers are quietly living in that space right now. That's why I believe teacher wellness is not optional, it is essential for sustainable education. Students deserve emotionally healthy teachers, and teachers deserve lives outside of survival mode. One of the biggest misconceptions in education is that rigor must feel exhausting. I disagree. Effective teaching should create clarity, not chaos. The A.C.C.E.S.S. literacy framework was built around that belief. Systems that increase engagement, improve literacy, strengthen participation, and reduce unnecessary overload. Because when classrooms become more structured and student centered, teachers regain time to think, time to reflect, time to connect, time to breathe, and live. And honestly, that may be one of the most revolutionary things we can give educators right now. Not another slogan, not another initiative, not another motivational poster. We don't need that, but sustainable ways to teach without losing ourselves. So, if you are listening to this right now and you feel exhausted, I want you to know this. Your burnout is not proof that you are failing. In many cases, it is proof that you have been carrying too much for too long. And I think the future of education depends on whether we finally become honest about that. Because great teachers are not leaving because they stop caring. They are leaving because caring without support eventually becomes unsustainable. But I still believe education can change. I still believe classrooms can become places of engagement, literacy, humanity, and emotional safety. And I still believe teachers deserve joy too. Not someday, now. My students are the ones most teachers find hardest to reach. Those with significant cognitive disabilities and developmental differences, many of whom are also English language learners navigating two languages and a disability label at the same time. If you are advocating and supporting the same students, you belong here. And my videos are for you. So subscribe to this channel. Our community here is new, and the most exciting part about this is that our community is just beginning. That means the people who join now will not simply be members, they will be founding members who help shape how this framework grows across countries and cultures. Years from now, when this work expands to more classrooms and more teachers, I hope some of you will be able to say, I was there at the beginning. I'm very hopeful about what's ahead. Together, we have an opportunity to make a real difference in classrooms and in students' lives. If you believe education should be inclusive, innovative, and globally connected, I invite you to be part of that founding group. If you teach students who fall through the cracks, or if you are one of those teachers who feels unseen, you are exactly who I made this for. I love it when we grow together. So please share our videos and resources you find helpful here, and share the link to everyone you know can benefit from and contribute to our resources, ideas, and conversations. Thank you for being here for this first episode. And wherever you are in your teaching journey, I hope this conversation reminded you that you are not alone.